What is up, DTube Steem blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about my theory about quiet on Steem. So a lot of people have been making posts about this, that maybe the last 6 months or something like that, there's been a little bit more quiet on the Steem blockchain. So let's talk a little bit about that. Yeah, cola. I usually don't drink cola, but sometimes. So let's talk a little bit about this. So quiet on the Steem blockchain. So my theory on this is maybe it always has been quiet on Steem blockchain. Let me explain. What I think happens is when price goes up and so on, that people's identity, they reach out more to people and they make themselves sort of larger when price moves up because they feel more abundant. Other people feel more abundant, and you have the same people. Let's say you have the same people, and if all people sort of feel abundant and everyone's like reaching out to other people and sort of doing things, people look larger than life. People look like, whoa, this is really something amazing here. This is really something that doesn't exist at any other place. There was a couple of months like that in early 2018, and it got a lot of people sort of in the door. So the theory is that maybe it was always quiet on Steem, but it's just that people make themselves larger when price goes up. So they make themselves larger, and the experience feels different. The experience feels so much different compared to when people, like, when price goes down, people sort of get they feel less abundant, and they probably do less actions, and the perception changes. So it sort of feels like something has changed with the humans, while probably is around the same people, but it's just that people are way less vibrant. And yes, some people always come and go, but it's kind of interesting to look at the core group. They are sort of always they are always they are, of course, they are always sort of around because they are sort of invested. So those people hang around, of course, and people that maybe haven't posted in the last couple of months, they still have accounts. So it's like, yeah, people. So the perception is kind of interesting, how fast the perception of something can change. So something can very quickly change to stillness and quiet, and it seems like nothing is happening. And in a way, if you are looking at the technology, well, just because Steem blockchain is a technology, well, most of the technology is already done. So there's not that much more that can happen with the technology. Now it's more about the creators. So the creators is in many ways shaping the perception now of a place. So content creators should eventually have a larger role in something. And I remember even when YouTube had existed a very, very long time, I remember in 2009, 2010, there was a lot of quietness. There is these years where there is a lot of stuff that maybe happens in the background, and this is like small changes here and there, but that eventually adds up to eventually the people's sort of perception of something is changing. But it's kind of interesting how the human mind works and how human perception works, and how we're sort of, in many ways, I think, sort of moving into maybe more going by feeling, uh, trying to look at our feelings and sort of feel ourselves into what seems to be somewhere we should sort of be in life. And I'm probably going to go more to sort of that dimension, I think, with a lot of humans. So I sort of see that I was kind of considering this already in I already knew this early 2018 that, well, content creators are gonna play a massive role in the future. I mean, they are the only ones that basically have content, right? So they are the only ones that sort of that loves to do something, right? So they just they benefit the most from sort of this new technology, which is kind of cool because it really is an upgrade in technology. It really speeds things up so much. Where, especially on YouTube, well, it feels so exclusive on YouTube. Uh, People that comments, you know, that they're not really that empowered, or maybe they don't even have an account. It's like on the Steem blockchain, you know that when a person is when they really have an account, even if they're not earning that much, they sort of is woke compared to the general population, and that kind of is sort of refreshing. So, and it's also very interesting that if people just have a group of maybe 5 to 10 people that are really dedicated to something, and that really are putting in an effort, I mean, that's all you need. Don't really need like massive group to sort of grow something great. If a small group of people sort of is changing the way they're doing things, then they have amazing long-term influence and long-term sort of growth curve. So growing human beings in capability and competence, it is it's something that goes on in the background. And if you pay attention to humans, you can see a little bit how someone is growing and how they sort of are changing. And you can see this on your old friends also. You can see how they're, some are way different because they put in more effort, and some are basically the same. And this is also how we can see on the Steem blockchain. We can see that how some people mature and they're doing better and interesting stuff. They are becoming sort of more creative, and most of all, I mean, they're enjoying what they're doing, and that is really the main thing that sort of I want to see, that like people are really enjoying what they're doing, and that they're sort of trying their best. And it's kind of interesting to see what can eventually in the long term come out of that. So yeah, that's my theory, that basically it's in general the same people, but that perception changes. When price goes up, people feel 10x more abundant, and they do probably 10x more actions, and it creates this sort of hive mind of emotions, I would say. While you can have the opposite effect on sort of downturns. So I look at this from more maybe emotional intelligence perspective, that people that use more emotional intelligence, they they have more this long-term approach. Or well, other people also have it, but I think that emotional intelligent people are probably more considering that if humans are if the human being is investing themselves into something, that is really when you're gonna get exponential curve. While more logic oriented people, they're more looking at it from a price perspective. And both these, of course, are working together. You need both these people working together, and both are sort of helping each other out, and like teaming up to do what they're competent at. So that is kind of cool to see. So is it going to be still on the Steem blockchain for a longer period? Yes, I think so. I don't really see I don't really see anything that can come in, swoop in the short term, and gain a ground. Because what I feel with Steem blockchain is it has taken root in some deeper ground. I'm not an expert on that, but it looks like it has. and I don't really think anyone else can come in super quick and do the same thing as the Steem blockchain, because yeah, I don't think they would basically have the competence and the mix of creators and developers. It's probably very, very hard to try to sort of get those kind of people that are on the Steem blockchain and like try to create that same sort of atmosphere on another place. I think that would really, really, really be hard. It's the same as why are we still, well, a lot of people are still using Microsoft. A lot of people are still using Google because they got this. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like, well, they did so much work in the beginning, so they on the long tail they're winning out so much, and we might see something similar here with sort of this space. So, for example, Steam blockchain 2016, and now it's 2019, and it's been like a slow growth curve, and it's a lot of grind. It's basically it's a lot of trial and error and a lot of grinding. And if another group would try to do the same thing, they're gonna have to do the same thing with like 5 years of like testing, trial and error. And yeah, so I don't really see any competitor coming soon, but it's still probably gonna be kind of quiet here in uh, in the short term, but in the long term, it's probably gonna look kind of cool eventually. Yeah, have a great day, DTube and Steem blockchain.